Have you had a defining moment in your life that as it occurred, you now clearly know that it changed the trajectory of your life for good? Well, I have. That moment was January of 2007. Prior to that moment, my life was good. But since that moment, my life is great. Just before January of 2007, I actually was considering going into seminary to become an Episcopal priest. I had a calling. I love all things spiritual, and I love to explore this thing called God, spirit, something that is greater than us. And I grew up with deep Christian roots, and I love those roots. However, when it came time for me to consider what I would be talking about and preaching about and speaking about, I actually didn't believe everything. And I believe in speaking the truth, at least that I believe is the truth. And I didn't believe all of the doctrine and dogma. It was a big moment in my life because I didn't want to necessarily leave the church, but I did. And I started seeking. I was seeking something that I just knew that there was a faith that I could align with fully and dedicate my life to, and to help me in my life. As it so happened, a few months after that, I met a man at a neighbor's house who told me about a place in Oakland, California, where I lived at the time. And he said, "You've got to check this out." And I said, "Yeah, okay, maybe I will." But he insisted. He said, "No, tomorrow morning." Well, that was January 14th of 2007. And I walked into a place called Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. I had never heard of this place. I had never heard anything about it. And when I walked through those doors, there was a voice within me that clearly said, "This is it. Get busy now and stop wondering, stop seeking." Well, I just took that voice within me at its word, and so I did. I found out that what they teach and practice is a thing called the science of mind, founded by Reverend Dr. Ernest Holmes. Never heard of it before. Though I had read books, and now I can see that I read books like Wayne Dyer, Marianne Williamson, and Deepak Chopra, and I loved The Gospel According to Oprah, and, Iyanla Van Zant, and just a lot of people I'd read. And once I started finding out about science of mind, I went, oh, okay, I'm starting to get this now. You see, Science of Mind is a compilation of the great thoughts of the ages, the deep mystical yearnings of minds in search for God, spirit, whatever you choose to call it. It's a modern approach to a faith which can be demonstrated, a faith that can be demonstrated. In this practice and teaching, Science of Mind endeavors to include the whole life, a life focused on joy, freedom from fear, and justified results. That's the science part. It offers the world what many of us have been waiting for, a faith whereby fear and superstition have been removed, and the universal spiritual principles are presented in plain, simple, sometimes simple, and direct ways, so that we may each learn to live now, in this moment, in the present moment, with the knowledge and the trust that the universe is for us and not against us. If you really narrow this down, one could say that Science of Mind is drawn from the revelations of both Western and Eastern religions, the opinions of philosophy, the laws of science, and the practices of psychology. And it's applied to the human needs, because we do have needs, and the aspirations of humanity. All right, so now you might want to look into it a little bit more. But let's get back to 2007. From all outside appearances, if you knew me in my life then, I was extremely successful. I had it all together. But what people didn't realize, that I was on the inside of Karen, things weren't that great. I was on antidepressants. I had high anxiety, lots of stress. I had so many doubts and fears. It was the fake it till you make it kind of feeling that I had within me. And I had a voice inside my head that just wouldn't shut up. And it wasn't a positive voice. And I came into Science of Mind and I started studying and understanding and asking every question I could, because it's good to do that, to poke at it, to wonder, where does this really stand up? Will it withhold that which I believe? It did. The great news is I started putting these universal spiritual principles into practice in my life right at the time that the big recession of 2008 started. And I was in a sales and marketing career. I had to sell things, and this recession hit. And everybody was talking about how bad it was. It was all over the news and all that. But I put these laws and principles to use. And between 2008 and 2010, I made more money than I'd ever made in my life. I put it to work to see if this stuff really works. And it did. And it does. I also got my health in order. And I began to have some really great friends and connections that I had been wanting and affirming for many years in my life, but didn't know how to really show up as friends. I grew the courage to put all my chips on the table. And in 2010, I did. I actually walked away from a 23-year career in sales and marketing and put all my chips in. I went all in and went into ministerial school to become a spiritual leader, a licensed minister in Science of Mind. And I didn't work for 3.5 years. I just knew, and I had faith that this would all work out, that I actually would be good at being a minister, at being a spiritual leader. And I put this to test yet again. I had a mystical experience that happened in the fall of 2013, just after I got my license. And that mystical experience, what it taught me is who I came here to be, and that there is a power, there is a presence, the greatest power there is, not only in the universe, but it's within me. And I came here to be that. I came here to be that power, that be that presence, to be that boundless love in my life, and that I could no longer play small or settle. And I certainly couldn't do that if I believed that you could have it all. I had to also believe that I could have it all. So in the fall of 2013, I blew up my entire life. I blew up my 11-year relationship. I blew up the dream home that I thought I would die in Oakland, California. I just blew it all up. And I had the faith that it would all work out. I just didn't think that I could actually start a ministry in the most expensive place to live in the country after having not worked for 3.5 years. So I started seeking out pulpits throughout the country. Nothing had to keep me in the Bay Area anymore. And I called up a friend and mentor and I said, hey, I need some help with my resume. And it happened to be Reverend Dr. Peter Weldis in Dallas, Texas, a place that I had felt a calling to that community in 2012, but I put it out of my mind. And she said, hey, I am looking for a partner to do ministry with me. Come do ministry with me. So I sold my home, packed up my bags, moved to Dallas, Texas in late January of 2014. I loved coming into this community. There was something on the horizon, though, that I didn't know about. You know, the truth is, even when you know and understand and put these spiritual principles and the law of attraction, the law of cause and effect, and all kinds of the law of giving and receiving, just all of this stuff, that doesn't mean that your life will be like perfect and rosy. 7 months in, I got diagnosed with breast cancer. 10 tumors in my left breast. I was floored. I had just met my stride in my ministry 7 months in. Thank God I had the science of mind to stand on and within this process. And boy, did I work it. And I put all of my spiritual tools into play, and I moved through breast cancer in less than a month, became completely cancer-free without having to do any extraordinary treatments or anything after the initial surgery. That is when I needed science of mind the most. And it worked and proved itself yet again effective in my life. I then, because I got clear with I wasn't really fully loving myself and embracing myself, I was open to a new kind of love in my life. And I had been searching for a soulmate my whole life. And I found that soulmate right here at CSLDallas. And it happened to be Dr. Petra Weldis, the other minister within the community. And we fell in love a year and a half after I got here. And we told the community. So I had to be okay with everything about that within myself, because I've learned so within, so without. So I had to fully embrace myself, my sexual orientation, and I fully came out at 49 on a pulpit right in a sanctuary in Dallas, freaking Texas. If that's not powerful, I don't know what is. And I was fully embraced by this community. And we got married here. And this is a predominantly heterosexual community. But we're radically inclusive. And we're spiritually progressive. And we're all about transforming lives. Since then, I've learned how to even play bigger in my life. I became a certified firewalking instructor. I've jumped off of a bridge in New Zealand to face one of my big fears. My life is abundant in every way imaginable. I had always wanted children, but I didn't have one. Now, because thanks to Petra, who has a son, I have grandchildren. And I've spent the last 9 months with my granddaughter from the moment she took her first breath. And I have a beautiful 7-year-old granddaughter to boot. You see, you can't have it all. So if you are searching or seeking for spirituality that is positive, is practical, and can absolutely change the trajectory of your life, check out CSLDallas. We have everything online, and we have a beautiful campus. So you could do either one or both. This is a place where we can lock arms together and lift each other up and know that you too can have it all. And there are universal spiritual principles that you can learn about and put into use in your life, and I guarantee you the trajectory of your life will change to its highest hope, its greatest potentiality, and you will help make a world that works for everyone as your life truly works. I'm grateful to this teaching and the 14 years I've had the pleasure to discover, to practice, and to teach. Bye for now.